His tongue was inside me before I could say his name, and by the time I remembered I was still wearing my wedding ring, he already had 2 fingers curling inside my wetness. I was in my kitchen. My husband was upstairs. And our neighbor, Mason, was making me melt against the refrigerator like I belonged to him. Yes. I let him do it. I spread my legs for him, not once, but over and over. And when I moaned into his mouth and clutched his hair like it would save me from my sins, I knew something had broken inside me. Something I would never get back. Thank you so much to all my amazing subscribers. You keep this channel alive, and your support means the world to me. If you are new here or watching without subscribing, I am grateful you are here too. I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button, because that is the fuel that powers everything we do. Please do not forget to drop your thoughts in the comments after this episode. I want to hear what you think, especially about what happens next. Now let me take you back. Back to where it all began. My name is Harper Lynn. I am 35 years old, married, and a mother of 2. I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Naperville, Illinois. On paper, everything looked perfect. My husband, Eli, is a software architect, brilliant, kind, responsible. He mows the lawn every Saturday, kisses the kids goodnight, and leaves the thermostat at 72 like a goddamn gentleman. But perfect can be so silent. So lonely. Eli stopped seeing me years ago. Oh, he looked at me, but he never saw me. I became the wife, the caretaker, the mother of his children, the planner of lunches and the folder of underwear. The woman he kissed on the cheek before bed, not the one he ripped the clothes off of in the hallway. Then came Mason. Mason was 38, tall, black, with deep-set eyes that burned when he looked at you. He moved in with his recently divorced sister across the street. We waved at first. Then we talked at the mailbox. Then I started wearing makeup when I went outside to take the trash out. It was not innocent. Not for me. It began with gym recommendations. He told me I looked like I used to dance. I laughed. He said he played football back in college. I asked him about his tattoos. He asked me about the one on my ribcage. The one only my husband ever knew about. The heat started there. One evening, it rained hard. Eli was upstairs, sick with a cold. I was downstairs with a bottle of red wine and leftover lasagna. Mason knocked. Said the storm broke a power line and his sister was out with her friends. I let him in. My mistake. I let the wine pour twice. We laughed. We stood too close. I asked him about his first kiss. He touched my chin and said, "I think I want this one to be my last." Then everything changed. He leaned in. I felt it. His lips, his heat, the throb between my thighs screaming for attention. My body betrayed me first. My hands moved to his chest. I pulled him closer. He kissed me like he knew I had been starving. And I kissed him back like I had been dying. He lifted me on the counter like I weighed nothing. My robe fell open. I was not wearing a bra. His lips found my nipples, my neck, my thighs. He knelt between my legs like I was holy, like I was not married, like he had a right to claim me. And I let him. I spread for him. I opened every part of myself to him. I did not think about Eli. I did not think about God. I only thought about Mason's mouth, and the moan that slipped from mine when his fingers stroked deeper and found that sweet, pulsing spot inside me. I came hard. Right there. On the kitchen counter. My robe around my waist. My wedding ring catching the light from the open fridge. And still, I wanted more. He carried me to the living room like I was his. Bent me over the armrest. Whispered that he wanted to feel what another man took for granted. I was dripping, literally, panting, wild. When he entered me, it felt like relief. Like I had been waiting for this exact violation. He rocked into me like he knew I needed it rough. I begged him not to stop. I whispered filth I had never said to Eli. My body moved like it was possessed. And when I came again, this time with Mason gripping my hips, I felt something snap deep inside me. Something dangerous. Afterwards, I cleaned myself up. My thighs still wet, my heart thudding like I had just escaped a crime scene. Mason kissed my forehead. Told me this was just between us. I nodded. But I knew. It was never just sex. It was never just once. It was the beginning of everything I would regret. And nothing I would forget. I told myself it was a mistake. That night with Mason, his mouth, his fingers, his body inside me, it had to be a drunken, one-time thing. I blamed the rain, the wine, the silence of my marriage. But deep down, I knew the truth. I had not made a mistake. I had made a choice. And the worst part was, I wanted to make that choice again. The days after were a blur of shame and arousal. My thighs ached, my mind replayed every second, and my eyes avoided Eli's. I still washed his shirts and packed his lunch. I still smiled when the kids ran into our bed on Saturday morning. But every time I looked at my husband, I felt like a traitor. Because while he was upstairs coughing, I was downstairs getting stretched open by another man. Mason did not text. He did not call. He did not have to. I saw him again the next Thursday. I was pulling weeds out by the fence. My back was damp with sweat, and my old tank top stuck to me in places I did not want it to. He walked over shirtless, glistening, holding a bottle of water. He looked at me like he could still taste me. I hated that I let my thighs clench. He did not say anything dirty. He did not need to. The way he stood close behind me, the way his fingers brushed the small of my back, it was enough. He winked and walked off. And I stood there, damp and dizzy, aching for something I should have feared. That night, I touched myself for the first time in over a year. Eli was sleeping next to me. And I did not think about him once. The next time it happened, I invited it. Eli had taken the kids to his mother's for the weekend. I said I was feeling tired, that I needed rest. Truth? I could not wait to be alone. I cleaned the house. I shaved everywhere. I put on a silk robe with nothing underneath and waited. Mason arrived without knocking. He walked in like he belonged there. Like he belonged to me. I did not resist. I dropped to my knees before he could speak. I took him in my mouth and heard him moan my name like it was his salvation. He tasted like sin. I swallowed every inch of it. He lifted me off the floor and threw me on the dining table. He made me scream. I scratched his back until I saw blood. When I came, I cried. Not because of guilt. Because it felt too damn good. That weekend turned into something more. He started showing up when Eli was at work. A kiss here. A hand between my legs while I stirred pasta. His fingers inside me in the laundry room. One time, he bent me over the guest room dresser and made me look at myself in the mirror while he slid in from behind. He called me his willing victim. I hated how much I liked it. But the guilt grew heavier. My lies became more calculated. Eli began noticing. He asked why I smiled at my phone. Why I wore lipstick just to check the mailbox. Why I locked the bathroom door so often. I lied like a professional. Until the day I found Mason's phone on my kitchen counter. I had gone to fetch us water while he fixed his jeans after another afternoon of reckless lust. I picked up his phone without thinking. There was a message. You still seeing the married bitch? Thought you said she was catching feelings. I froze. Everything in me stopped. When he returned, I smiled. I handed him the phone. I said nothing. But something cracked in me. Something dark. Something permanent. That night, I cried into my pillow. I told myself I would stop. I had to. I had children. A husband who still loved me in his own way. A home that could fall apart with one wrong whisper. I made up my mind. But the next morning, I was knocking on Mason's door. He opened. Shirtless. Smirking. And I fell to my knees again. I started noticing things. Mason had a burner phone. He kept his bedroom door locked when I was over. He sometimes whispered another woman's name in his sleep. I was not the only one. And yet, I stayed. I kept going back. Because he made me feel things I had not felt in years. Desired. Dirty. Free. He made me forget I was just a suburban wife with crow's feet and stretch marks. With Eli, I was wallpaper. With Mason, I was art. But then came the photo. One evening, Eli came home early. I was in the kitchen, cooking spaghetti. He walked in with quiet footsteps and set his briefcase down. I looked up and smiled. He did not smile back. He handed me a small envelope. Inside was a printed photo. Me. Bent over the dining table. Mason. Behind me. My face. My wedding ring. Everything. Clear as daylight. I dropped the spoon. The sauce splattered on the floor. He did not yell. He did not cry. He just said, "How long?" I could not lie. Not anymore. Almost 2 months. He nodded. Picked up his keys. And left. I collapsed to the floor, sobbing, spaghetti staining my knees. It was over. Not just the affair. My marriage. My life. Everything. And I had no one to blame. I was not tricked. I was not seduced by some monster. I was not forced. I had been a willing victim. The silence after Eli left was louder than any scream. He did not answer my calls. He did not return that night. He took the kids to his mother's and stayed there. The house felt like a museum of my sins. Every table, every sofa cushion, every kitchen counter held memories of betrayal. I sat alone on the edge of our bed, legs trembling, staring at my ring like it was burning a hole into my skin. I did not take it off. I needed it to remind me of what I had destroyed. 3 days later, Eli returned. Not to talk. Not to forgive. But to get clothes for the kids. He did not even look at me. He moved like I was invisible, like I was already dead to him. And maybe, I was. But before he left, I finally said it. I am sorry. He froze at the door. Then, without turning back, he muttered, "You are only sorry you got caught." And then, the door closed. That night, I called Mason. No answer. I texted. No reply. I went to his house. The lights were off. His sister told me he left that morning. She did not know where. She seemed surprised. But I was not. Because Mason was never going to stay. I broke down. I stopped eating. I stopped showering. I stared at the same corner of the wall until daylight blurred into dusk. Guilt poured into me like cement. I was drowning in the weight of my own choices. Then came the lawyer. Eli filed for divorce. He was calm, surgical. No fighting. No begging. He wanted full custody of the kids. He had the photo. The time stamps. The texts he had pulled from my phone backup. I had no defense. No excuses. The judge did not even look at me twice. But here is the twist. 2 months after the papers were signed, I got an email from a stranger. Attached was a video. My heart dropped. It was Eli. With another woman. In our bed. The timestamp? 5 weeks before I ever touched Mason. My chest felt like it exploded. My ears rang. I watched as Eli kissed her neck, undressed her, moved inside her like he had not touched me in months. And she was not just any woman. She was his coworker. The one I had asked him about a year ago. He said she was gay. He lied. I lost it. I called him. He finally picked up. You lied, I said, choking. He was quiet for a second. Then he said calmly, I knew. I knew what you were becoming. You were cold. You were bored. I just beat you to it. You filmed me. I had to protect myself. You used me. He paused again. Then said something I will never forget. We used each other. Everything I believed crumbled. I was not the only one who betrayed. I was not the only villain. I was not the only victim. But I was the only one who begged to feel something again. And I did. At the cost of everything. Now, I live in a one-bedroom apartment on the edge of Aurora, Illinois. The walls are thin. The mattress creaks. The refrigerator leaks. But it is mine. And it is honest. The kids visit twice a month. Eli got the house. The stability. The family picture. But I have something else. I have the truth. I am no longer hiding from it. I was not seduced. I was not trapped. I was not forced. I opened my legs. I opened my heart. I destroyed a marriage. And yes, I enjoyed it. Until I did not. Sometimes, I think about Mason. I wonder if he ever meant a single thing he whispered while inside me. I wonder if I will ever stop missing the way he made me feel, filthy, desired, alive. But most of all, I wonder what might have happened if I had said no. If I had not become a willing victim. But I did. And now, I live with the aftermath. Every single day.